Okay, we are live on YouTube. So, if you follow me, you know that uh, I've never done both cameras in front of me. Usually, one camera is behind me, and uh, it's everything is new today. It's a new experiment. But you know what?
Absolutely.
You are part of history because I hope to have thousands of more Saturday broadcasts.
And you know what, David? Maybe leaving the studio, this video could go viral, and this could be a weekly thing.
Did you hear? Gabe wants us to go viral because he's on it. So please
Come
go
on,
viral.
come on, for the sweet man. He's so old
So old
and kind. Did I say old? I meant kind.
Well, old too, and glad to be old.
Absolutely.
I am so glad that someday I'll share with you all my medical challenges, but I am very glad to be here.
It is a privilege.
Gabe, one of the things that this was an idea that I had, as you know, the Cincinnati streetcar, which is a long time in coming. It took about 10 years to finally get it going. With the politics and was the right thing to do, and I personally, I wasn't against the concept of the connector because it's a great concept, but for me, I think the timing was wrong in terms of Cincinnati and priorities. I mean, so whatever. I think the connector is about 3 years old now, close to 3 years. I wrote it the second day that it was in operation, but I only went 1 or 2 stops. And about a month ago, I wrote it for the first time all the way through. It's a 2.5 mile loop right now.
Okay.
Well, and it's critical to. So I said, this is pretty deep. I'm going through mostly over the Rhine. It goes to almost to the river. It goes to 2nd Street, almost to the river, but the majority of it is over the Rhine. So I took a map. This is the connector map, and we have. I put all the stops on it.
Okay, we got to show the fans the map.
Here's the big map, and the concept that I wanted to share to ignite was make Saturdays a family day in Findlay Market.
Absolutely.
And there are we can see families out here that they've been doing it, probably this 3rd generation of families doing it. But if you're using the connector, you could say, okay, we're at the stop number 8, and here's the businesses that we can visit today. So next week we'll go to 9. We'll go to visit those businesses. And this is really a concept I wanted to ignite today. And
well, that's amazing. And I also think that would be an incredible opportunity. I have never lived in a city or a place that had any type of public transportation, busing, anything like that. Never.
Louisville doesn't?
Well, so I'm from the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. You know Wendell Berry?
No.
So he's this historic agriculture author, but he's our local celebrity. We don't have anyone else. So yeah, Louisville, they did have some buses. I never had the opportunity to ride them. But what we're talking about today is so interesting because I've been seeing it go past every single day.
You got to stop right there. Where do you live in the city?
So I live right on Main Street. So just about 4 blocks down.
So you could take it to work every day.
See, but the thing is I've never ridden a train or a bus. Well, like when I'm
it's free.
Somewhere
this
else.
One's free.
I know. So I need to. Hopefully today we can get over my fear of riding the train.
Well, maybe afterwards, I'll take you, and I'll babysit you, and you can see how it goes. And
that could be fun.
What street in Maine do you live? What's the number street here? What's your address on Maine?
1610.
16. So you're north.
Maybe yes. There's a really great boba place downstairs in my building. It's called Boba Cha. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a good local business.
Well, it's not over the Rhine. We're concerned about over the Rhine.
It is over the Rhine. Main Street.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it's still.
You know what? I to that point, I'm not exactly sure where over the Rhine starts and where it ends. I mean, because I would guess probably it starts somewhere officially north of Fountain Square.
Let me
which is
show
Fifth Street.
you. Well, where are we? You know what? And we can discuss that maybe next
Yes.
episode. The definition of where.
Next,
Over the
we're
right
working on the
stars.
next episode already.
I mean, let's see if
A
this
man
one
after
goes
my
well,
heart.
right?
Oh my Lord! So every Saturday is Small Business. I gave the why I came up with that concept. The Small Business Administration, who the Cincinnati or Columbus district office of SBA is extremely familiar with everything I'm doing. They've been looped in with what I'm doing for a couple months. So,
That's awesome.
well, because I want the SBA to know that we're doing this and that it's about business. Well, in November, last November, we had Cyber Friday,
Okay.
Cyber Monday, and something Friday, and Small Business Saturday.
Monday. There's so many of them.
Well, and I had seen a national television report about it, but they talked about Friday and Monday, but they didn't talk about Saturday, Small Business Saturday, and that angered me.
Yeah,
That
wasted
really-
opportunity.
Well, and the other reason it angered me was, I don't know if I told you this when I gave, well, I'm old. A month ago yesterday, I was 75 years old.
Congratulations.
And it's symbolic, A, that I'm here, but B, to me, 75 years, I'm a third generation small business owner. And I've been a business owner for 53 years. So I wanted to do something very, very special. And that's why we're doing this. And in my family, every Saturday was Small Business Saturday.
Right.
We had businesses going all over the place. And
now tell us more. What kind of businesses were your family involved in?
actually, my grandfather, my mother's father, not even Leopold, it was my grandfather Barnett.
Okay.
He had
On the mom's side?
on my mother's side, he had a very successful, today they call it recycling. It was a scrapyard back in the day.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I'm the only one in 100 generations of my family, both sides, that never involved in the scrap business.
Well, I would consider you pretty scrappy though, so hopefully it
Well,
passed down.
so my father was a graduate journalist from
Okay.
100 years ago. Went to Ohio University,
Yeah.
and they had a really good school of journalism. And it was his dream to own his own publication, and he bought one in 1967 when I was a senior in high school. And I actually went with him to the meetings where the sale was negotiated. So I learned a lot about business and publishing right when I was a senior in high school.
That's amazing.
So Dad bought it. I went off to college, got 2 degrees in college, and came home with literally nothing on the horizon. So my dad looked at me and he said, "Why don't you quit screwing around and go to law school?" And
Dad's always saying stuff like that. aren't
and I never heard my dad use that kind of language. I mean, so I said, "You're really angry with me, aren't you?" And so he went in the house, and the next day, I don't know what he did in the house, but the next day I was on the phone with a publisher in North Carolina. I was in Ohio, in Canton, Ohio, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and that gentleman who was one of the wealthiest philanthropists in North Carolina had a publication. He was putting money into it, but which he had plenty of money, but nothing was happening.
So what was he doing calling you?
Well, no, he didn't call me. My dad called him.
Oh, so we're trying to get some money?
No, we were trying. Well, all I know is that at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'm on the phone with Mr. Blumenthal. At 8:30 the next morning, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I left Charlotte, North Carolina with a job offer. It wasn't really a job. It was an experience because he was the money. he didn't want to do anything, so it was my show.
Okay, so would you consider that like an internship experience?
No, it was for real.
But were you getting paid?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was, yes, I was getting, not only was I getting paid, but at that time it was a Jewish publication in North Carolina. My father had a Jewish publication in Canton, Ohio. We were the only independent father and son publishers of Jewish publications in the country.
Wow.
Because most of them were owned by the communities.
Yeah.
And my father had one of the last, got into the business. He was one of the last independent owners.
That's amazing. Okay, David, for the fans at home, what was the name of your and your father's publication?
Fans at home? Do we have fans at home?
Yeah, we have fans at home.
My publication down there was,
We're going to have to pull out the records.
American Exam, Charlotte, I don't remember what it was.
Somebody fact check in the comments. Let us know.
But in Canton, Ohio, it was Stark Jewish News. Well, my father passed away 6 years later, and I was actually in New York on another publishing project in New York City.
Mr. Worldwide over here.
Well,
wow.
So no brainer, I went home to take care of business because my mother didn't know anything about the publishing business. And
different times.
Well, she didn't get involved in it. And so my mother was my business partner for 90 days.
So she was in her involvement last year.
Let me tell you how it ended.
Please do.
So I said to Mom, Mom, I love being your son, but you stress me out being your business partner. And her father, my grandfather, was standing right there. He looked right at me and said, "Give your mother $10,000 and do whatever you want to do." Before my 25th birthday, I invested $25,000 in a business before my 25th birthday.
So at 25 years old, you had $25,000 in what year?
10,000.
10,000. Okay.
But I did not know, quite honestly, I was 24 years old and new in business. I didn't know really the impact of $10,000.
So, I mean,
but I learned quickly.
It's 2024 right now, David, and I'm about to be that age, and
I will advise with you.
I don't have 10,000. 10,000 is not present right now, but that's impressive that you were able to save up that money and put it towards something that was special.
That's validation to why every Saturday is Small Business Saturday, because that's the mentality.
And you know what, David? I think that would be an incredible segue. We could talk about you and your story forever.
They've heard it.
Let's talk small businesses.
Wow, let's talk small business. First of all, I want to thank the folks from Kohash for being so cordial and allowing me to look at it. We've got some German dance. German. Cincinnati was founded by Germans, so a tremendous amount of the culture is German.
Maybe, David, for our audience, can you just explain what's happening directly, probably 10 feet in front of us?
I'm not quite sure I know, but they're doing a German dance.
They're doing a German dance. What
you know the chicken dance is that?
No.
It's the second largest chicken dance in the world here in Cincinnati.
That is
the other one is in Germany.
Anyways, they're wearing these beautiful little German
alpine
dress with like a little apron thingy going over it. It's really cute. They're doing it.
So if you want to have some fun, actually not just on Saturdays, Findlay Market. Is there a lot of activity on Sundays in Findlay Market?
I think there's always something going on.
So Saturdays, it has to be the busiest day of the week.
Definitely, yeah.
Because folks come from all over the city to be. If you're ever in Cincinnati, make sure you catch Findlay Market, and by that time maybe we'll have some of these things organized.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have things going. So, what was your next question?
Okay, so I think what we want to do during this live stream.
Here's what my objectives are. Number one, I wanted to create the concept, plant the seed for the Findlay Market to be a family destination on
Absolutely.
Saturdays. And using the map, they can say,
Using the train.
they say, oh, here's what's at stop 14. Here's the business we can visit.
Okay.
That's my ultimate objective. I am making an offer, and this is the first time I've ever done this.
I'm scared.
No, it's not about. No, it is about. Colfax is in the offer.
Okay, let's hear it.
I am going to offer 30 businesses in over the Rhine, Findlay Market.
Okay.
I'm going to offer them
$10,000.
no. They might have to end up giving me 10,000.
Well, yes.
Not to start. Not to say. I'm going to give them, as a result of what's happening here and my experiences here, complimentary access to my marketing, sales, value experience system that I've developed.
Amazing.
So they will have it and do it. And I just decided, since you and I met yesterday, in the last 24 hours, that I'm going to create teams.
Okay.
Well, actually, the folks in the business are going to create teams. I want them to pick out 2 other businesses, non-competing businesses, where they can, as a team, can share resources.
Okay.
So that and the resources they be sharing would be customers.
Absolutely.
And so we'll tie all that together, but have 3, and then each one of those teams, I'm going to have a live stream. They're going to have their chance to talk about their business.
Amazing.
Then all 30 people, I'm going to produce a marketing, sales, value, experience video live stream for them.
Amazing.
It's for them. I mean, I'm going to be creating it. And I say this to anybody, cyberspace, that I can take anybody's marketing and sales position and help them get to the next level. What's it going to take to get to the next level?
And I think that is definitely the goal for all of us.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
So I'm real excited about this, and it's starting and experimenting in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we'll see how that works. To that point, and thank you for asking.
Of course.
I don't know if you asked that.
I forgot what I asked, but please continue.
There are 387 metropolitan statistical data markets in the United States.
Okay.
387 per Wikipedia. That's David.
Now, David, we can't always trust Wikipedia.
Well, good point. And with artificial intelligence, who do you trust anymore?
Exactly. But that's a conversation for the next stream.
Well, that's a conversation that needs to be done daily on who do you trust with artificial intelligence. I don't know if you see it in what you do on a daily basis. I see it every day. I see misuse of things that I've spent my lifetime building, and I'm always kind of curious. I think what I'm going to do before I pass is I'm going to create my own artificial intelligence for not model of me.
Oh,
so that when I'm gone, they won't know that I'm gone. I'm still.
That's a little creepy, but that is definitely something that we could do. But David, I would be lying if I said that I also was not using like AI daily.
No, I don't say use it daily. I say I see it. I see examples of it.
Do you ever use it in your own work?
No. I'm a diehard 53-year publisher original. It's me. I put my own little mark on it saying it's me.
And you know what? That is something that I've grown to love about AI. Is sometimes if I have to type out like a 5-paragraph email going over all of these details, I'll sometimes give directions like these are the key points. But then once it generates this, I go back.
Now
I delete.
That is an expert way. I mean, that to me is legitimate. The way that you are using it. And I've had that discussion. I have been live streaming with. You guys want to be Are they auditioning?
They are incredible. Woo! So for our crowd at home, we do have a group of children.
You should turn one of the cameras.
Should we try it?
Turn that
this
camera.
one?
Yeah, turn that.
So these are, okay, they're not dancing anymore, but
Their camera shy.
the energy in OTR this morning is palpable. It's incredible. David,
What was the last topic we were talking about?
We were talking about how AI, and I'm trying to use it responsibly.
No. Well, I started to tell you, an individual who I have been live streaming with for 16 years
Oh, wow.
is the #1 small business tax expert in the United States. She is the go-to person. So she and I had this discussion in a live stream about artificial intelligence, and she said she had been using it only the same way that you do, as a checklist.
Yeah.
To see that, because she's been publishing a tax book for 26 years, 27 years.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of detail. So AI can work well for her.
Yeah.
But the flip side of the coin is, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding,
Maybe. Let's see.
isn't my data that is on Google servers the foundation for AI intelligence? I mean,
yes,
don't
but
they have?
also I think there's a whole lot more.
Oh, there's more, but they have to go someplace to get started.
Yes, but and that is the interesting thing, is that it is able to just quickly locate any data that's ever been published, anything that is online, and that a similar task like that could take a person like you and me half a day to look up and go through all these databases and find it. So I think if you're trying to just do some like quick recall or idea generation,
Well, but then the danger,
stuff like
I totally agree with you, but the danger is, okay, if we read something, we don't know necessarily. I mean, we seemingly know the source, but we don't know how it's been spun 150 different times.
Absolutely. So we're on the quest for the truth. What is the truth?
I use the word trust.
Yeah.
And now more so than ever, trust in marketing and sales is key. It has to be developed. And how do you do it? You develop this trust by the live stream that we're doing today.
Absolutely.
We are real. It's happening.
Relationships with your audience.
Building relationships with the audience.
Absolutely.
That's where the trust is really formed. And I don't know. I've got some battles yet to fight with that, but it needs to be done for the right reasons. And maybe that's the mission of Small Business Project 2024, Celebrate Business 2024, is to authenticate things that are going on and they're real and it's really happening. Well, I guess if we're talking to a business and they're sharing real time,
we should trust them, right?
we would hope.
Right.
And well, the flip side of that is, if we don't trust them, we're not going to do business with them.
Exactly. And I think that is, I think that becomes evident.
Well, and that's now that we're talking about it, that's something cool about it, because we see there's some small vendors out here who are probably just here for one time or a day or whatever, and now they're getting out into the masses, and so they're real.
And I've had on my walk home yesterday, because in like the Findlay Market Strip area, they set up these tents and they do it a lot on Fridays and Saturdays. So I was walking home from work yesterday, and one of the booths that we walked past, it was this pretty young person. They were about 20 or so. I could tell they were a little bit younger than me, but they were students at the University of Cincinnati in their art program. And she told me that they were bringing their assignments that they were doing in class to sell to the public. And it was really cool, intricate things that like I've never really seen before. But I'm like, where else do you find
you're giving me
stuff
flashbacks
like that?
from my college days.
Oh yeah.
Well, I dated a woman who was in DAP.
Oh yeah.
And it was criminal how hard she had to work. I mean, she was 24 hours a day. She was working on projects, and one of her projects was designing the backs of playing cards.
Yeah,
Playing cards.
absolutely.
And well, because there's a couple playing cards company headquartered here in Cincinnati.
Really?
Yes. Well, they were. I guess they were submitting designs to them, but it was part of her assignment. And she worked her heart out to create a design and got torn apart in a critique for whatever reason.
Bless her heart.
So, anyways, giving me flashbacks of my days in college.
You know, and you started saying playing cards, and I was going to show you. Where's my little bag?
You carry playing cards with you?
I do carry playing
Are
cards.
you a magician? Sleight of hand? Oh, look, he's talking. Thinking about it.
Well, let me show you. I don't want to go too off on our tangent, but I just went to New York City, and they made these playing cards that were like the.
I use a card like that.
If you ever were on the Metro, but check these out. I haven't even gotten.
You know who? You know what? I want you to take a picture of those.
Okay.
And I want to email it to my son in Dallas. Well, he lived in New York.
Oh, really?
He'll want to buy one of those.
Well, the price is right.
So you bought that, or you found it? Or?
I carry it with me everywhere. But
you bought it in New York.
I got it in New York, and you know, you never know when the conversation might get a little boring, and you say, "Okay, let's play some cards."
I've ridden many buses in New York and subways and everything else.
And that, I think, is the beautiful thing, because you can walk up to a person, you may not know a lot about them, but most people know how to play a quick game card. So
you want to flashback story about the playing cards?
Yeah.
Sure. I went when I was 12 years old. I went on a 6,600 mile car trip in the country with my grandparents.
The cars could go that far back then?
Well, my grandfather had a fancy Buick, and air conditioning had just come out that you probably have never seen it, but the units plugged right on the console on the car.
Okay.
The very early ones.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Before they were built in.
Interesting.
Wow. My grandparents took me on this trip, and every single day of that trip, I played gin with my grandmother. She was maybe a world champion gin player.
Gin. Now, see, I thought gin was that really nasty liquor that tastes like sink water. Dirty sink water.
I've never heard it described that way, so.
That's my experience.
Wow, gin. You never played gin?
Gin, no.
Really?
Never heard of it.
Well, you and I are going to have a card game of gin.
Okay.
And you can Google it so you can learn how to.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video for it, right?
Yeah, well, yes, my grandmother could have done it, but
it wasn't on YouTube at that time. Yes, understand.
Well, YouTube is, as I told you earlier, it's not even 20 years old yet.
Yeah, because it was around 2006, right? Around.
Yes. I did my first YouTube in 2008.
Okay, so yeah, I was the early end of it.
I was at the very early end of it, and here we are, YouTube today, and the technology. It's gotten a little bit, I guess. YouTube technology is. I don't have any problem with YouTube technology. Yeah, I do have one problem. I do have one.
Okay, share.
The thing that YouTube does not do that I would love them to do, and maybe I could buy my way into it. You and I are sitting together doing a YouTube. I cannot. You cannot be remote from me, and me do a YouTube. As
you're saying, like with another person at
correct,
the same time.
Correct.
You see, and that's where these other platforms like Zoom. Have you used Zoom recently? Zoom, Google Meets. David, these platforms exist. It's just
no. I have used Zoom. I'm probably the only person in the history of Zoom that has subscribed 3 times.
Wow.
And canceled 3 times because,
David.
Well, their technology is okay. It's not great, but it's okay.
You didn't write your password down, did you?
No. Yes, I did.
David did not write his password.
You're on to me. No, I have to write it down. It's funny.
So what happened? Why was
I had customer service issues, and I couldn't get out of their bot. I was inside and I couldn't get out of it.
Another issue with AI.
Getting worse.
Well, these companies, though, they're instead of hiring more customer service, we're just finding a bot that can do it.
And this I have not told you about me. I am a customer care expert. I have created, designed in the call centers, the call center area where customer care was the individual communicating with the customer. I've done that in my life.
Really? That's also a lot of my experience. I'm sure you have done it a bit longer, but that's at the hotel. That's what I was doing. That was a majority of like sales. So-and-so hotel, this is Gabe. Cracker Barrel, I used to work there. I was a server and a greeter. Welcome to Cracker Barrel.
They're still in business.
You welcome. Yes, they're still in business.
Well, no, because Red Lobster went out of business. I don't know.
Well, yes, but you will know. Well, maybe you don't know, but during COVID, Cracker Barrel started introducing what are they called? Bloody Marys, mimosa, champagne, beer.
I never knew that.
They're pouring pretty heavy over at the Cracker Barrel.
Here in town?
All of them.
I did not know that. I have never had a glass of wine or anything in a. It's got to be helping business. I mean,
it is, but you know what? I think instead of talking about Cracker Barrel, we should talk about some of these local breakfast places that I have been to.
Look, what is it right across the street? I was so excited when I saw it. Jean Robert.
Jean Robert.
Are you long enough in town to know who he was?
David, I've been here for 4 days.
I thought you said 4 weeks.
4 days.
Oh
this is day 5 of me living in Cincinnati.
Jean Robert, he passed away last year, I believe.
Okay.
He was the #1 chef in Cincinnati.
Really?
He has had, at one time, had about a half a dozen different restaurants. This is the first time I've seen this one. I never knew.
Okay, yeah. And so for the fans at home, this is, what's the name of it? Globe? Is it called Globe?
No, Globe Furniture was there.
Oh, so I think it's just John.
Globe Furniture was there. At one time, this was Leader Furniture.
Okay.
And I was in both of these buildings in 1970. Well,
that is so interesting.
It's Findlay Market. It's look at it. Something's going on there because all the folks are gathering around.
I think they're doing some type of little gesture show or something.
Maybe they're doing auditions for the chicken dance.
Perhaps. I had such a unique experience probably 2 or 3 days ago. We went over to the Goose and the Elder, right down the road. It's like a breakfast diner situation.
I've seen the name, but I've never been there.
So I went there, and it was for breakfast. And then I saw on the menu, it said Cincinnati favorite. And I'm sure you've had it before, Geta.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard of it, never tried it.
It's a German created, yes, it's a, if you want some real, have you tasted it yet?
So of course I had to order it. I mean, I told him I'm brand new, and he said, "Okay, well,
if you
never had it,
if you go up on the street right across the street from the courthouse, I can't remember their name. It's Court Street.
Okay.
On the left-hand side is they make it right there, and it's fabulous. They grind it right in the store.
So because they were trying to explain it to me, it's pork and oatmeal, grain.
I don't want to know all this stuff.
It was kind of like a sausage meatloaf situation. Is the best way that I could describe it.
We're going to leave that in 1 second when I tell you, another food delicacy that originated in Cincinnati.
Ooh, let me guess.
It's called turducken.
I was not going to guess that.
Duck, and chicken. You take a turkey, you put the duck inside the turkey and a chicken inside the duck.
I think our friends over, is it Scotland or Ireland, haggis? Isn't that kind of similar?
Probably.
That's where they have like a cow stomach and they do some other. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
No, but let me tell you how turducken ties into the Findlay Market discussion. Please. I used to buy my meats at Lucan's inside the market.
Yeah.
Because I learned how to make it, and I put a new twist on it.
So you're doing it at home? Is that what you're saying?
I did it at home, and, but I use the only breasts of meat, and in between we put your favorite layer of stuffing, whatever you want in stuffing.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's outstanding. And I've cooked it a couple times for Thanksgiving dinner. I think I cooked it once, and appetizers, and it's the hit of the party when you make it. But I bought the meat, the poultry from Lucan's.
Okay, and it's still there. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Another thing I want to check out because they might have sold Lucan's, the one that was inside the market, but I believe a Lucan has opened up their own shop on the street, I believe.
So there is like a furniture home store that's called Lucca.
No,
Lucca. You ever heard of that?
no.
I mean, if you're in the market for some nice platters or some silverware.
I'll tell you what, if you got to be able to find it in Findlay Market.
Yeah, if it's not there, you probably don't need it.
We go online and buy it from artificial intelligence, buy from a bot.
I don't do that, David. Actually, you'd be surprised.
Go buy online.
Amazon, no. I've done it. I've done it one time. I bought I needed a set of like clothes hangers, and as soon as it got there, the clothes hangers they weren't good. I would hang them up. I'd put like a shirt and a jacket, and it would snap and break. And I said, from now on, I'm not.
Amazon does not like me anymore.
Well,
I canceled my Prime membership.
You know what? I think they'll be fine.
No, they don't like me. They'll do fine.
Absolutely.
Jeff Bezos, what he created is unbelievable. What he created, and he looked at the retail market, and figured out its delivery is what it's all about. How quickly can the consumer get it if they don't have to go to a store and buy it?
But on this Small Business Saturday, David, I don't think that is the direction that is the most beneficial to communities like OTR.
To that point, the small business owner has the opportunity to deliver. You're not going to beat Amazon. Well, you can beat them on price, and they play around with price a lot. They play around.
They do. They do have
but
that privilege.
That's the instead of the small business owner saying I can't exist because of Amazon, take advantage of the weaknesses that Amazon has in their program.
Elaborate. What are the weaknesses that you think Amazon has? Because I definitely.
I don't know if people will understand what I think their greatest weakness is.
Okay.
The bank who does their financing.
It's not where I was going at all, but continue.
Well, because I had done business with, they operated under a name, and had I known that they were owned by who they are owned by, I would never gotten involved, because I didn't like the way they practice.
Well, that is definitely an interesting perspective that I did not really know anything about. My issue with it is that I feel like there is a certain level of charm whenever you're going to shop someplace like Findlay Market, and there's like an artisan, and they make these like beautiful necklaces, and they can tell you the place where like they found the gemstones, or like where the wood is from. There's a certain level of history that you can.
No artificial intelligence there.
Well, exactly, and that is exactly what I think is missing from Amazon. Where is the humanness of what is being sold to us?
And I think I made this statement. Well, I made this statement to somebody. The small business owner, and we'll tie it all together in a second. You're not going to get the attention of a buyer unless you can bring value to their life.
Absolutely.
We buy based upon the value that purchase is going to bring into our life. That's how we measure it. And that's why in capital letters, I use value experience.
Okay.
You hit the nail right on the head. You get it, right? The value that the small business owner can offer is far exceeds anything that Amazon could try to offer. Yeah. Because they're here. If you got a problem with something, you go to the merchant and say, how do I fix this?
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I just moved to an itty bitty little studio apartment right in OTR, and I don't have the space to be ordering a bunch of junk, So I mean, there's only enough space to hang 4 things on the wall. So I really have to make sure that those 4 things are something
appropriate. They fit. They work within budget.
Yes, but also like if somebody says, "Oh, that's a beautiful painting. Where did you get that from?" Imagine, "Oh, I got it from Amazon." Boring, lame. You only have this tiny little space.
There's got to be some artists out there.
Oh, there is, absolutely. haven't met them yet, but I'm on the lookout. So if you are an artist in the Cincinnati OTR area,
Talk
Fine.
talk a little bit more about Cohatch, and because you folks are doing something different.
Absolutely.
It's only done in this building, nowhere else. Talk about what you're doing in the building.
Yeah, so first want to say thank you for this opportunity. This is really exciting. So Cohatch as a company, I have actually only been with for about 5 days.
This is your day 5.
This is my day 5, yes. So we're a community space. We have a bunch of different unique kind of spaces. Like over here, we have like a fully glass surrounded bar. We have conference rooms. We have spaces for, like, we call them life events. So like if anyone in the community wanted to have like a baby shower, like any type of life gathering experience, we would open up our doors to them.
You have workstation kind of things also?
Absolutely. So we do that. We have like office spaces for a lot of our members of the community that are starting businesses, that have businesses. We have an impact program to where if anyone in the community is interested in, raising funds to initially get started, they can apply for our impact scholarship, and through that we offer mentorship, stuff like that. So I think there's a whole thing going on.
Did you hear me yesterday ask the question that I had thought that this Cohatch was like an incubator, but it is not an incubator.
Well,
like a traditional incubator.
I think an incubator is limiting.
But let me tell you something. I'm going to be doing a whole story on it.
Yes.
In Cincinnati, 1,800 steps from my front door is one of the top 10 incubators in the world. 18 steps.
Do you want to give them a shout out?
Oh, it's Alloy Development. I've actually done a live stream with Pat, who's been in the business for 30 years, over 30 years, and it's amazing. But let's talk about just real quickly the concept. Someone has a business idea, they come into an establishment like this, they can get information, they can share ideas. You provide resources that they don't have to take out of their pocket to invest in.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, just the very initial getting started phase is the most difficult. People have families at home, they have kids running around, and just kind of separating that home space with that workspace.
I can't believe you're talking about that, because I have only operated businesses out of my home. And
which has worked for you. It's worked.
It's worked. Well, a lot of things have worked for me that will not work for other folks, but I made them work for me.
Very true.
I had an office less than 10 years of my whole life.
Wow. So yeah, our kind of idea, our mission is sort of what would the success of your efforts, what would happen if you had a separate space completely dedicated to that?
Let me summarize and say it's extremely important, and I've said this 1,000 times in live streams I've done over the years. When you operate a business out of your home, you must have the support, whatever that means, of the folks in the home. And there is a fine line between business and home, and it must be defined. Boundaries have to be established.
Yep.
They have to be respected. Or it's not going to work. And
absolutely.
I have had homes where I have not had the support of the folks living in the home.
David, that's an episode for later.
The only support I had for my sons.
Really?
And so it's a different discussion, but an extremely important one for a small business owner, and particularly one that's just getting started. Because unless you have the proper funding, you're going to start in your home. We've heard all the stories that businesses started in the garages and grew.
And a lot of people have done that. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, which one of those guys did that?
Probably both.
I think they both did. Yeah, I'm sure I learned about that in a class at some point, but you can do it. You can do it. People do it in the garages. That definitely can work. We just think that sounds like a lot of hassle. There's a lot more hiccups in the process.
Well,
when
and
going
the
that
biggest
route.
hiccup is the boundaries that are established if other folks live in the space.
Yeah,
You have to be respectful. I mean, you've got your family, and family is more important than whatever business you're going to
absolutely.
establish. So it's one of the major struggles that a small business owner has. I'll bet if we went up and down the street and did a survey about was that ever part of the challenge that you had is you got your business out about every single one of them. Or the other thing is, as a small business owner, we live our businesses 24/7.
Absolutely.
And so we find it hard sometimes to leave and do some other things that we must do because we have to be responsible parents.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I was fortunate that I lived in a home where we had grew up in a home. The boundaries were there. Everybody knew what was going on, and here we are today.
Absolutely, yeah. So that is a lucky success story.
It's very, very important. Gabe, you and I are not done talking, but we might be done for today.
Maybe today, yeah. I think we're busy today. It's a busy day at Cohatch. So
And typically Saturdays aren't that busy for us.
typically Saturdays we're not even open. So I think today.
I wanted to thank you also for opening the front door for us.
Yeah, I was late. Sorry about that.
And
5 minutes.
Yeah, now that I know you live on 16th of May.
Right, you know where I'm at. I'm a little nervous.
Well, I want to thank you, Gabe, for your time. I want to thank the folks at Cohatch for their kind hospitality. And today, you are part of one of the most exciting days of my life.
That's incredible. Well, I'm so happy that I can.
Because new things are happening and we're starting. And to that point, anybody listening, if you would want me to bring our project into your market, how do we get in touch? Well, you can message me.
Email, comment below. Find him. He's always walking down the street, so I'm sure you.
I am actually. I am as transparent as it gets. That's part of why I can do things I do.
Absolutely.
And therein, that's where the artificial intelligence collides because I'm very, very transparent. Well, because people, that's how you build trust. That's how you build the trust, and extremely important to any business that folks trust you because if they don't, they're not going to buy from you.
That is very true. Well, David, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. And there are next steps to project here in Findlay Market. As I said, I'm going to send a YouTube URL. That's another thing that I do. Any YouTube that I create with you, with anybody, I will give you the YouTube URL so that you can use it for your own purposes.
That would be great.
Because you have your own network and your own.
I do.
And so that's extremely important because nobody does anything like that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So part of the concept of the project, if you are a Findlay Market business owner or OTR business owner, 30 of you will have, I'm going to give complimentary access to my system. Together we will build something for you so that you can share the value that you bring into the marketplace. I'm David, and have a great day, and we'll see you the next time, which may very well be the best time.
Well, I think that went pretty well, yeah.